Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadish. I am Hollie Harper.
I'm Felicia Madison.
Jocelyn Chia calling in from my recovery bed.
Dhaya Lakshminarayanan from the apocalypse.
Well, and we have some fun topics today to discuss. First thing I want to discuss is, I hope I'm not the only one that saw this, but this is in my I don't get it. Like, I don't get it category. The whole Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota that they're saying is attributed to 250,000 cases of COVID-19. I don't get it in two ways. Number one, is that a real number? Like, is that real? Like, how is that possible? Okay. And number two, really, I don't get it. Like, we're this deep into COVID, and because the rally was attended by over 400,000 people. And so through contact tracing, it was like a few-day event. Over contact tracing, these are people, 400,000 people from all over the world. So these people rode in and spread everything around and then rode back out. And so I'm just kind of like, I don't get it. How far into COVID do we have to be for this nonsense?
Well, they also weren't wearing masks.
Oh, yeah. They weren't wearing masks.
Social distancing.
How is that allowed? How'd they even allow that to happen?
The governor was like, we're fine. We're fine.
I want to clarify that Jocelyn is recovering from something unrelated and not related to the Sturgis motorcycle rally.
Yeah, I was at the Sturgis motorcycle, shooting up cocaine in my stream.
I can see you doing that though, Jocelyn.
Oh my God.
And motorcycle ready shooting up cocaine.
Well, maybe not the cocaine, but motorcycle.
I do have that bad bitch whip site to me, right?
The sad thing is, Hollie, you are a regular citizen, and like most informed citizens, you know more than the governor does. And you know more than how come it's like regular people who seem to have more common sense than the elected officials?
Yeah, like I'm starting to believe that we need like a leadership test. Do you know what I mean? And like a leadership, just kind of like agreement, like you're going to follow certain guidelines and bylaws. Like you're going to follow the CDC. Like, how can leadership do this? Like now the governor's like, I think that's fake news. I think those numbers are fake.
Yeah, this is part of like this whole anti-science, anti-fact bias. And we're understanding more and more that you can present people with facts, you can present people with data and the science, and they're just going to believe what they want to believe. It's so frustrating how we change people's minds when we don't even have any basis for the same language.
I think we changed people's minds 250,000 motorcycle rallies at a time. Now there's 250,000 non-maskers who are now like, oh, this shit is real.
If they didn't test them, they wouldn't have had it, right?
Right.
I know.
But you know what? Even if people get it, for example, there's that congressman who got COVID, and he said, I got COVID because I was wearing a mask, and the mask absorbs the virus, and then I touched the mask, and that's how I got it.
Oh my God.
I remember that. Yes.
People are so dumb that they think the mask causes COVID. People think that 5G causes COVID. I don't know if you saw Ice-T's Twitter. He literally had like 5 Gs, like Gs, like gangstas, like up on the telephone pole. And he goes, is this 5 Gs that's causing COVID?
That's hilarious.
Girl, I just love the fact you up on Ice-T's Twitter. Like, I'm up on Ice-T's Twitter.
Politicians and Ice-T.
No, but you're right about leadership and the dumb stuff they do. Was that guy with the mask who said he got him the mask? Was he the same guy that called his whole staff into the office to tell them that he had COVID? He's talking and everybody's just like,
Yeah.
I think that these Republican lawmakers, if you told them that women carried cooties and you need to legislate our bodies, they'd be like, fine. But then if we tell them about COVID, they're like, oh, it's imaginary, it's made up.
Exactly. I can't wear a mask because my body, my choice, but you have to have a kid because your body, no choice.
Exactly. Well, also, like the studies have shown that more women are adopting masks than men, because men tend to not want to wear, look, so that's why sometimes
men just never want to wear protection.
Right. They don't. Not all men are in the same category, but it's like certain men who are very toxic in their masculinity. They're like, you can't tell me what to do. Like they think they can just bully it. So
it sounds way too much like me trying to get a guy to wear a condom. They can just talk over it, just talk themselves out of it.
Do you think that there's some correlation between being against masks and being against protection?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
I think they just don't like to be told what to do. They're not like women maybe are more like rule followers and more nurturing and following in a bad way maybe also, but in this way it's actually good. But men just are like, I'm doing what I want.
No, but like seriously, they're like these people with masks. Like you saw how Joe Rogan calls it a bitch mask.
You know, that's so interesting. So I would bet, do you think it's the same with gay men and straight men, or do you think straight men find it emasculating, but gay men might find it kinky? I don't know. Like, do you think that there's some kind of like straight men are like toxically masculine and gay men, because they have like had to think about their health and like there's this history of going through an epidemic, the gay men are more responsible in some way?
That's a very interesting point. Probably with the AIDS epidemic that they were such a part of, it could be in the zeitgeist to just keep yourself protected for the sake of your health.
I do. I think they're probably more apt to wear the mask.
I think we should just come up with good sayings for the mask, like things on the mask. Like if you think this is big, you should see, you know, things that will make it exciting for them. Like this mask only covers like a certain percentage of my masculinity.
Ladies love it when I wear protection.
Or maybe the inside can smell like, what is it, like a Nissan GTR? I don't even know cars. Like maybe it can have that like sports car smell.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Some a big handlebar and like maybe like some barbells.
Yes, and you know, you should call them Magnum. These are Magnum masks.
Yes, the masks. So they're spelled like MASCs, like masks for masculine.
Yeah. Well, Hollie, to get back to your point, I feel sad because a lot of these states that are suffering, South Dakota, Republican governor, a lot of the southern states, I mentioned that I grew up in the South in Alabama and Georgia. A lot of the southern states have southern Republican governors. A lot of the southern states also have colleges that are going back to school, and they're forced to do it because their football program is so important. So like all of these things touch on toxic masculinity, like football, motorcycle, like governors being like, government can't tell me what to do. So I feel like New Zealand, for example, Jacinda Ardern, they have done a great job with making that country do well. So I think there's something about not all men, but like the brand of masculinity that's toxic, like the Joe Rogan or the guys on 4chan. That's actually contributing to this feeling of we don't want to do something that's good for the rest of us.
Yeah, and I find it really ironic that these are people that are usually like law and order people, but then not for me. You know what I mean? It's like, we want law and order, but not for me. I do that.
Right. Speaking of Law and Order, Ice-T is one of my favorite characters on Law and Order.
Ice-T is so funny.
Oh my God. But listen, moving on. Let's move on to hell no. Okay. Taco Bell is dropping 14 items from their menu, calling the menu. They're dropping 14 items, but the Mexican pizza. Left. I know, like, what's left? I know, like, 14 things, like what they got up in there. But they're dropping Mexican pizzas, and like Mexican pizzas are the only reason. Stop. The only reason I go to Taco Bell, and I was so hurt. I was so hurt about Taco Bell, and then Dhaya let me know that Taco Bell, like a lot of Indians love Taco Bell. They love that Mexican pizza. So I'm just like, why are you doing this to me, Taco Bell? Don't do this to me.
I didn't know that we ethnics loved the same items, because when I was a kid, like all my mom would let us have Taco Bell because my mom is a thick woman and she wanted me and my brother to be thick. Like that was her goal. She wanted us to be like, because it's considered attractive if you have curves in, South Indian culture. Like if you're too skinny, like it means you're poor. So my mom would be like, you can get whatever you want at Taco Bell. So we would get Mexican pizza and she would encourage it. She's like, I can get it for you all the time if you want. And so I don't know if that's permissive parenting or whatever, but my brother and I unfortunately did not grow up to be thick. So it my mom became very disappointed in us for that reason. But I think Mexican pizza gave us so much love because Indians as a immigrant group, we like spicy food. And Mexican pizza was the spiciest thing on that menu because it's like Mexican food for Caucasians, but that one was like a little step up. So Indians were like, oh my God, it's fast food, it's cheap, it has flavor. And also most fast food places are like hamburgers or chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of Indians that are Hindu are vegetarian, or a lot of Muslims don't eat pork. A lot of Hindus don't eat beef. So Taco Bell made like vegetarian Mexican pizza, and they were always cool about like substituting beans for beef or whatever. And so Indians just became obsessed with it, and which is sad because actual Mexican people must be like, why are Indians doing this to us?
I think it's hilarious that your mom is trying to catch you a man through a Mexican pizza. That cracks me up. I'm like adding it up like, wow, does Taco Bell know that it's responsible for marriages? Like, do they know this?
It doesn't work that way in the Jewish tradition. It's like my mom, it was definitely not trying to fatten me up. You can Karenize me now because I don't think I've ever eaten in a Taco Bell.
That's okay.
Oh, wow.
That's okay. You don't have to. Have you eaten at any fast food though?
Yeah, but not Taco Bell.
It's better for your stomach. I mean, Taco Bell was the 3 a.m. get drunk and eat Taco Bell tradition in my college. But I found so interesting, Dhaya, that because fat was considered a sign of wealth, that was considered a sign of beauty, which is also the same in East Asian culture, wanting to be fair, because if you're fair, that means you didn't work on the fields. You're rich enough to stay indoors. And also why I think white people want to get tan, so darker, like we want to get fairer, you guys want to be darker, because being able to get a tan, especially in winter, shows that you had the money to go to Saint-Tropez to get a tan. And so maybe anything that screams wealth is our indicator of beauty.
It is funny that you say that about the tan, because like I worked at a tanning salon for like a year and a half. Yes, I did. But my sister worked at a tanning salon. And then I was like, let me try this out. Girl, I became like a top seller at that place because I started, like, you can't work there unless you use the booths. Like, you can't work there unless you tan. So I started tanning. It's addictive.
It's addictive.
It's addictive, and people become tanorexic. I totally became tanorexic. I became tanorexic, and I'm freaking black. And I'd be like, am I fading? My husband was just like, girl, like, really?
I've never heard of black people working at the tanning salon. Are you, did people walk in and did you lie to them? Did you like, were you like, I used to be a white girl, look at me now.
No, but I would say I'm so much lighter, and I would bring up on my phone like the lightest picture I could possibly, because I'm sorry, in the dead of winter, I get yellow. You know what I mean? Like even my son, I do. Like my son knows how to mess with me. He's 8, but since he's 5, he's like, Mama, are you a white person? Are you? And I'm like, dude, you're like a half a shade below me. Chill out. But it's true. I would tan the whole vacation thing. I would be tanning all winter, and then I would see friends, and they'd be like, "Oh, you went on vacation?" And I was like, "No, I just work at a tanning salon." Oh.
You should have lied.
Lied.
It should have been like, I went to Ibiza. Like, I should just lie.
Exactly.
There is one scientific thing that I think is important. For dark-skinned people, we actually do need more sun because that's how we create vitamin D in our bodies. So a lot of melanin people are vitamin D deficient, especially in North America. In the UK, it's a big problem for Indians and Pakistanis because there's almost no sun. So low vitamin D can lead to all sorts of issues, including mental health and depression. So that's actually a thing. So Hollie, maybe you're well adjusted because of all that tanning.
But let me just.
And I'm true because I wear sunblock religiously because I try to remain fair so I don't look like I work on the farm, and therefore I have no vitamin D.
Well, yeah, I mean that vitamin D is real because it really there was the one winter I didn't get the winter blues. I never got the winter blues. I would just be tanning, but then I was looking like a Gucci bag. I was looking kind of leathery halfway.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad
that you say Gucci bag because even when you're looking leathery, you still have class.
Still a Gucci bag.
Right.
It's funny because I've been inside now for like 3 weeks because I was quarantining, and then I have back issues, and I do notice like my mood going down. It must be I must be vitamin D deficient.
I know this may sound ignorant, and it's just sun. It's not about warmth. It's just sun.
Yeah, it's sunlight actually helps you can absorb vitamin D. Your body can create vitamin D through sun absorption. So it's not warmth. It's definitely just sun rays.
They have lights that you could get instead. There's a light you can get instead of a sun.
There's a light that you can get. And there's also vitamin D supplements that you can take, but the best way to get it is on your skin. And Jocelyn, for you, you can still wear sunscreen on your face and neck, but you can expose your arms, or you can have like a crop top and get sun on your stomach or on your legs. So just as long as your skin is absorbing it somehow, that's what's important.
Oh, good. So I'm going to like hooch it out and be like, Dhaya said so.
Right. And then she's going to have that farmer tan where it's like all light and then like the brown arms.
Okay, so we went from Mexican pizza to sun care products. Just so you know.
And we're about to jump again. There was something, not fight me, in Salt Lake City. A mom called the police because her 13-year-old son, he's on the autism spectrum, was having a separation anxiety breakdown. And it was, a little out of control. And she called just for help. She said he's unarmed. The police show up, 2 cops show up. Within 5 minutes, one of them shot him in the back more than once as he was running away. So when people sit there and complain about, no, not defund the police. No, we don't need police reform. Really? Really? Do we really not need it? If 2 cops in Salt Lake City are shooting an unarmed boy who's having a tantrum in the back?
Yeah, I was thinking back to our first conversation about this, how you were saying you would never call the police.
Never.
Yeah, and I just what was this? I mean, not that she shouldn't have, but what was she thinking? Obviously she didn't get that memo.
Maybe, I think that, honestly, Felicia, I think she thought because she said he's unarmed, she tried to walk into it. Because who else is she going to call? That's why I'm thinking about our tax dollars. There should be someone else you can call. You know what I mean? You call the police for these types of violent situations, and then for this type of situation, there should be another number you can call. Our tax dollars going somewhere else to actually represent us. That's where I'm fight me, because this is a white kid. This is Salt Lake City. Same response. You know what I mean? So,
well, one of the
kid was white. It was a white kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
These are white people. Everybody in the whole situation is white, and he ended up getting shot in the back a few times, running away.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, were they black cops? I mean, you can't even blame racism here.
This is just to me, and that's why I'm defund the police, because I feel it's not just about Black Lives Matter and how police react to us. It's about how police act in general.
Right.
In general with people.
Yeah, because it's not even racism anymore. This is just terrible judgment.
Well, I'll take this is not going to be a popular approach, but let's give them better shooting capabilities. At least shoot them in the foot,
If you
That's what Joe Biden said. Oh my God, Felicia, you are Joe Biden.
I'm not mad at you.
Joe Biden. You're not Karen, you're Joe now.
Yeah, you're
Joe is the new Karen.
Joe Madison. Joe Madison. Can't they just shoot him in the foot or something like that? But
Felicia needs to go full Joe Biden and be that's malarkey. It's a bunch of malarkey. Girl, if you come with the malarkey, I'm gonna send you a muffin basket.
That's a bunch of malarkey. That's something I would say.
But because one of my surgeries,
Kamala, and I'll do Joe Biden.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be Kamala.
One of the areas that I did the procedure on was my foot, and actually having your foot shot is terrible because I had to crawl. I have to be on my knees when I'm brushing my teeth. I felt like a little kid, my head came to the bathroom sink. I felt like a little kid brushing my teeth. No, I'd rather be dead than have my foot shot and not have to use it for the rest of my life. It's a real impediment on your life.
That's true. There's a lot of nerve endings in our fingers and our toes. And Hollie brought up an interesting point. We have statistics on how cops treat Black people and brown people, but also we can't collect enough statistics because people with disabilities, both physical and mental, are often the victims of police brutality because they'll say something stand up straight, put your hands in the air. And if you have a physical disability or a mental disability, you might not process it in the same way. So if you pause for 2 seconds, they're you're not following orders, and they'll shoot you.
Oh,
so
dear.
A lot of times people who are the most vulnerable, whether it's also Native American people, like people on reservations, are very targeted by police. Like the Navajo Nation has a huge rate of police brutality against Navajo people.
What's the reason for Navajo people?
Because, racism, and they're living on the reservation. And as soon as they leave sovereign immunity and they're on the outskirts of the reservation, police are like, racist against them, or they think they shouldn't be off the reservation, or they have images of what natives should be like this person must be drinking or stealing or smoking cigarettes or whatever. So there's like huge amounts of victim blaming there. What's interesting is, even though we say Black Lives Matter, by having Black Lives Matter as the movement, it actually helps all these other communities as well. So if we say Black Lives Matter, that's not just saying only Black Lives Matter. It's saying, look at what's happening to Black people, because this is going to happen to your disabled kid. This is going to happen to your neighbor who's maybe a little bit tan because of the tanning salon they work at, and they're going to be caught in like some police thing. An Indian man in Alabama who was in his 50s was assaulted by the police because they perceived him as Black. So this is happening to people regardless of their race, if the police see you as non-cooperative or not responsive. That's why Black Lives Matter means so much to so many people, even if we're not saying Black and brown and indigenous and people with physical disabilities.
Right.
It's just so much easier to just say Black Lives Matter and get behind it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, thinking about it, Dhaya, I think, and Jocelyn and Felicia, Black Lives Matter, the Redux, 2.0, not the 2016 model, that came out like it was an album, during the racial reckoning after George Floyd. It came out, it drops on Friday, but it came out, and it was like the Washington Redskins. That changed. Do you know what I mean? And so many other things in our culture changed. So it's not about only Black Lives Matter, and it's about saying when Black Lives Matter, all the lives matter. They all start to matter. But seriously, with the police department, I'm just kind of there needs to be the training. Do you know what I mean? What goes into trainings in PDs? Because that could be somebody's child who's deaf, somebody's on the spectrum, somebody who has OC, whatever is going on. And it's not right, because when you look at it, our tax dollars are there to protect us.
Right.
That's what we pay them for. So that needs a reform.
Yeah, there was an interesting article in the Times today, and he was saying that, all this reform and defunding and everything is not really working. And he gave an interesting example of how, you should try to just lead by example. And he told the story about how there were kids in the house, and he walked the grandmother in with him to get the kids and bring them out. And he said, what you should have done is just walked in and get the kids and proven to everyone that you thought it was safe and it wasn't, a tense environment. So he was trying to say that we just need to desensitize people and make them feel a little bit more, as opposed to just act.
Yeah, and police.
Think about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
I will fight Hollie on this, because I don't think that there's training that we can do at this point, because recruitment is messed up, because people don't want to go be police officers. They would, if they're going to, put their life at risk. Firefighting has such a better brand. I mean, they have a calendar with naked men.
I had 2 calendars. Back in the day. I had
one for the bedroom, one for the bathtub.
Right.
And we talked about this one time. There was a court case where someone's IQ was too high, and so they rejected him from police training. You can reject people for being too smart to apply for police jobs. So we're not attracting the kinds of people who would be empathetic. And those are social workers. Those are people. So let's just pay social workers more to handle it. Like Hollie said, we need someone else to call besides police. There was a whole fake movie with 3 different parts called Ghostbusters. Even they knew that you could call Ghostbusters instead of the police if you had some kind of haunting. But now we don't even have Ghostbusters. I can only call the police. So Hollie, I think that you're optimistic and that you think retraining might help, but I think we just have to.
Well, I'm willing to try, I'm willing to try to help, but I mean, when you get people that young, you know what I mean? Something like 18, 19, give them 3 months of training and then a gun.
Mm.
You have to go through 6 months to be a hairstylist. I'm dead ass serious. You gotta go through 6 months to put some bleach on my head, but a gun, that's 3 months.
Yeah.
How much training?
That should scare you.
How much training did you have for your tanning salon job?
2 days. All right. Well, listen, because it's time to move on.
I'm going to call Ghostbusters to find me a boo. Ha ha
ha. That was a good dad joke. That was a good dad joke. That was a good one. Listen, I want to move on to our last topic, and that is giving me joy. Okay. Iman Shumpert and Teyana Taylor. Do people know who they are? Do they know who they are?
Oh.
Iman Shumpert is an NBA player. He plays for the Nets right now. He used to play for the Cavaliers. He won an NBA title in 2016 with the Cavaliers. And Teyana Taylor is an actress and a singer and a dancer. She signed with Kanye. He helped produce this big rollout. Of like 7 songs. It's really weird. It's really like Black Black Zoomers and millennials are like, they all know about her. But anyway, they're like a little power couple. They're like a cute little Black power couple. And they delivered their second baby on the bathroom floor. Like their babies refuse to be born in hospitals. And for me, that's like a nightmare because I can't. I can't. I had epidural both times. But like their babies will not wait.
I want to add some old school reference to this. You know who helped deliver Teyana Taylor's baby? Erykah Badu. She could have done it without that old school witchcraft from Erykah Badu.
I find it maddening because I was in labor for 36 hours for all 3 kids. I would love to be like, oh my God, it couldn't
You mean
wait.
collectively or each time?
All 3. I was in for 36, like 36 hours of labor. Like I didn't go into the hospital till like the last minute, but like a dream for me would be like, oh gosh. It's like, I just watched Expecting Amy. Did you see that? Amy Schumer's story of her pregnancy. It was really good. In one of the scenes she talks about, because she had a horrible pregnancy, and she talks about all these people that say, oh, pregnancy's great. She's like, they should go into the water and have their car turn over and like just like slowly drown, like Chappaquiddick. She's like, I hate these people. Yeah. It's like, this woman, like, oh my God, I had a baby in an hour. I couldn't get to the hospital. It's like, really? Like, I hate you.
Yeah, those girls who would just go to the toilet and thought they were passing a shit and it was a baby, you know, like they didn't even know they were pregnant. Like, how can delivery be that easy?
Well, yeah. I don't know how she does it. Like she's just got those abdominal muscles or whatever. Like, but man, my second kid, I tried to do a natural childbirth. Like I tried to do that pool thing. I tried to, do the baby pool at the Brooklyn Birthing Center, and God was like, no. No, I ended up giving birth in the ER, and I'll never forget. There was a woman at Maimonides. There's a woman in the next room next to me, having a baby, and my nurse was like, "There's a lady in the next room having her 10th baby," and I swear, faux God, the woman was like this, like it was like, and I was like, who? Like, I am not good in pain. I was so bad. I ended up getting an epidural. I begged.
So after hearing all this, I feel like Mother's Day needs to be better. Like Mother's Day should be like, get a week off from work, from school, from paying your bills. Like Mother's Day needs to be more intense.
Mother's Day needs to be a whole year.
Yeah.
And then we can start over again. Another Mother's Day.
Every day is Mother's Day.
No, but I'm just like, I love this couple. It's crazy. I just love this couple because, first of all, when you look at them, like if you Google them, they look so strong. They look like the strongest, like gorgeous, beautiful, healthy people. And they're just so in love as this couple. Like amongst all, we always hear about so much of music is like men versus women or whatever. And they're just like this in love young couple, and they're like, oh yeah, both our girls decided to come early. It's just like,
she's buying the PR that they're paying for, by the way.
I don't know, they give me joy because if my muscles can work like that, girl. And then if you Google her, she's in a bikini, like.
Oh, now I really hate her.
So we're gonna wrap this up. Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert, congratulations. Taco, don't bring back the Mexican pizza. Sturgis, no more rallies. Salt Lake City, get it together. Thank you for watching Broadish.